My life shattered into a million pieces the day I found a secret phone hidden in my husband's car. It wasn't just a phone. It was a window into a betrayal so deep, it made me question everything I thought I knew about my marriage, my family, and even myself. Honestly, I never thought I'd be sharing something this raw, this messy, but I need to get it out before I completely lose my mind. I'm Joanna, 29, with two amazing kids, a 7-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. And until recently, my husband, Hunter, who's 31, he was just Hunter. Our life wasn't perfect, not some fairy tale, but it was stable. We had our routines, our silly arguments over laundry or forgotten milk, the usual chaos of family life. His family is local, always in our business, and mine, just 5 minutes away, is the nosy butt-carrying type. We were just doing okay. Then, last month, things started to get weird. Hunter became strangely nice. Not the flowers and date night, kind of nice, more like strategic. He'd wake up before me, make breakfast for the kids, tell me to stay in bed, promising to handle school drop-off. He said I deserved a break. And honestly, who's going to complain about that, right? But this is the same man who once claimed he didn't know how the toaster worked. I tried to convince myself maybe he'd watched a TikTok on being a better husband. I didn't want to jinx it. My sister, Amber, who's always suspicious, just joked, maybe he finally realized you were about to snap if you had to clean one more lunchbox. I laughed. I wanted to believe it so badly. But it kept escalating. He started saying things like, "Don't worry about the house. I'll take care of it later," or "I'll get the groceries. You just relax." I should have been thrilled, ecstatic even, but it felt so incredibly off. This wasn't Hunter. Hunter was the do-it-but-be-grumpy guy. Suddenly, he was super chill, letting the kids have extra screen time, no fuss about bedtime, not grilling me about what I spent at Target, which honestly was a massive red flag in itself. Then I started noticing the small, insidious things. His phone was always on him, but now it was always on silent. He'd laugh at something on it, and if I asked what was funny, he couldn't explain. Once I heard him singing in the car, windows up, and recognized a song from 2012 that he'd never liked, never had on his playlists. His mood was better, way better than it should have been for someone who hated his commute and acted allergic to basic chores. I brought it up to Amber again. She half joked, "Maybe he's cheating." I rolled my eyes. With who? He's at home, or the gym, or driving kids. He's not the type, right? But that seed was planted. If he wasn't seeing someone, was he at least talking to someone? I didn't want to be the paranoid wife, but honestly, it felt like he was living in a completely different world. Then the kids started saying weird stuff. My daughter came home and said, "Miss Alana, let us have marshmallows in our hot chocolate." I asked, "Who's Miss Alana?" She said Alana was at school sometimes and knew Daddy's favorite songs. My son added, "Miss Alana's hair is purple and she has tattoos, but Daddy says it's cool." That night, I asked Hunter, "Who's Alana?" He barely looked up, mumbled she was just a teacher's assistant, and told me not to overthink everything. I let it go, but it bugged me. I texted one of the other moms, and she had no idea, promised to ask her kid. The next day, no other kid mentioned an Alana, just mine. So I started watching him more closely. Hunter was out of the house more, always running errands, always busy. He was suddenly into new music, using new phrases, words I'd never heard him say before. It was like he'd developed a whole new personality. I mean, we'd been together for 10 years. I knew this man. I'd ask him for help, and he'd be all smiles, "I've got it." I asked if he was okay. He'd say, "Never better." I felt like I was losing my mind, slowly, day by day. Then last Friday, it all blew up. I was running late for soccer snacks, grabbed his keys, and rushed out to the car. Ours. We only have one. I was looking for his water bottle in the glove box, which was, of course, a mess. My hand did something weird. It was a phone. Not his phone, a whole other phone. I thought maybe it was old, but it turned on, and it wasn't locked. My hand was shaking so hard I could barely hold it. 3 months of messages. The top ones were all from someone called Alana with a heart emoji. I saw a photo. It was her. Purple hair, tattoos, smiling with my kids at the playground. My kids. I scrolled. There were more. Her and Hunter in the car, him smiling, her hand on his arm. texts about can't wait for our weekend and finally starting over with the right person. Things like, once we tell Joanna, it'll be real. I actually felt like I was going to throw up right there in the driveway. My body was convulsing, but nothing came out. I took photos of the messages with my own phone. I wasn't even thinking, just pure autopilot. I scrolled back further. There he was, talking about me. She's so tired, she won't notice anything. I feel trapped, but you make me feel alive. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something, but I couldn't. The kids were inside. So I just sat there in the car, staring at the phone, numb. I went back in, pretending nothing was wrong. Hunter walked in, all smiles, asking if the kids were ready. I just nodded, my hands shaking, wanting to slap him, to scream in his face. I didn't. I waited until he was in the shower. Then I sat on the toilet lid and texted him. His real phone, not the secret one. I typed, found the phone, found the photos, found the messages. Congrats. You're officially the world's dumbest cheater. He didn't reply at first. Then my phone buzzed. You always ruin things. I was going to tell you when it was the right time. I nearly dropped my phone. The sheer audacity. I went into the kitchen. He came out, towel around his waist, all casual, asked if I wanted tea. Are you serious right now? I said. He told me, don't make this a scene. You made a scene. I shot back. He said, you never listen. You're always tired. Because I do everything. I yelled. You never let me be myself, he retorted. What? Yourself is a liar. I screamed. You're being dramatic, he said. I picked up his secret phone and threw it at the counter. It bounced, landed on the floor. He picked it up like it was nothing, like it was just a misplaced object. I wanted to slap him so badly, but I didn't. He walked past me, bumped my shoulder. I shoved him back. He grabbed his keys and left. The kids were in the living room, watching Paw Patrol. They didn't see. I texted Amber. She said, come over. Bring the kids. Mom's here. We'll figure it out. I told her not yet. I need to think. I need to breathe. I didn't cry. I just started pacing back and forth, counting spoons, like if I could just do something normal, this wouldn't be real. For the next 2 hours, Hunter didn't come back. No text, no call. I got a message from an unknown number. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I blocked it. I called my mom. Can you come over? I asked. Of course. Do I need to bring anything? She said. Just yourself. Mom showed up, brought cookies like that was going to fix anything. She sat at the table and asked, what happened? I told her everything. She didn't say, leave him, or work it out. She just said, I'm here. Whatever you need. I wanted to hug her, but I just sat there, hands on the table, still shaking. I heard Hunter's car outside. He walked in, saw my mom, stopped in the doorway, looked at me, then at her. This is private, he said. Mom just stated, not anymore. He rolled his eyes. You're overreacting. I stood up. You don't get to talk to me like that. He shot back. You're ruining the kids' lives. My voice was cold. You already did that. He tried to walk past me. I stepped in front of him. He pushed past. I shoved him back. Mom stood up, her voice firm. Enough. He grabbed his coat and stormed out. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept thinking, how long? Why? I reread the texts, looking for clues, hoping if I found the right message, it would all make sense. It didn't. It was just him and her, pretending I didn't exist. The next morning, he was gone before we woke up. He left a note. Needs space. Don't do anything stupid. I laughed. Actually, laughed out loud. Is this a joke? I ate 2 stale granola bars. Texted Amber that I was coming over later. I packed the kids' stuff, told them we were having a sleepover at Annie's. My daughter asked, will Daddy come? I said, not tonight. I spent the whole day floating above my own life. At Amber's, the kids were playing. She brought me wine at noon. I showed her the photos. She just kept saying, holy, this is bad. I couldn't speak. I just scrolled over and over like maybe I'd missed some other sign. She asked, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know yet, but I'm not letting him get away with this. Not after everything. She said good. Mom called, asked if I was okay. Sort of, I said. Later, Hunter texted, when are you coming home? I left him on read. He called. I didn't answer. He texted, you're being childish. I texted back, you don't get to call me that. He said, let's talk. I replied, talk to your girlfriend. He didn't reply. That night, Amber told me, "Stay as long as you want." "Thanks," I said. I heard the kids laughing. I looked at them, and I just felt tired. Not sad, just done. I texted myself, just so I wouldn't forget. Not this time. I mean it. By the way, if you're still with me on this roller coaster of a story, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next, because trust me, it gets even more unbelievable. So, yeah, that's where I was. I knew I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was. I kept replaying everything, wondering, what did I miss? But mostly, I just wanted him to feel half of what I was feeling. I wanted him to know he'd screwed up the one person who actually had his back. I wanted to break something to make him regret every smug little remark, every comment he'd ever made, like I was some idiot who couldn't see what was right in front of her face. I didn't know what would happen next, but I knew I wasn't letting this go. Not this time. I stayed at Amber's. It was cramped, but at least I wasn't constantly on edge. I was running on pure spite and caffeine. I barely slept. Amber let me use her laptop to change all my passwords, joint accounts, social media, even my food delivery apps, because honestly, I didn't trust him not to be petty. I didn't want to go nuclear right away, but the more I scrolled through those messages, the more I wanted to set his entire life on fire. So, I did the next legal thing. I froze the joint account. Not in some wild, illegal way, I just took my half. I told the bank we were separating, a normal process. I left enough for the bills, not playing games with the kids' stuff. I moved my half to a new, secure account. I didn't care if he was mad. I told Amber, I'm not letting him use my goodwill to buy flowers for his side chick. End of story. I didn't tell him right away. I wanted to see what he'd do. Instead, I texted him that the kids were with me, safe, and to let me know if he wanted to call them. He left me on read for hours. Nothing. And then, suddenly, he was blowing up my phone. Calls, texts, voice notes, all in a row. 1 minute he was apologizing, the next he was pissed, saying I was taking things too far. He said I was overreacting, that I was punishing him for being unhappy. I just texted back, talk to your girlfriend. He sent a thumbs up emoji. A thumbs up. I wanted to throw my phone, but it wasn't even mine, it was Amber's old one. Then, out of nowhere, he showed up at Amber's place. He literally walked up and started ringing the bell nonstop. Amber's dog went nuts. I peeked through the blinds, and there he was in his ratty hoodie, pacing back and forth like he was about to kick the door in. I told the kids to stay in the back. Amber opened the door and told him, you need to leave. He said he just wanted to talk to me, that he deserved a conversation. Amber said, not happening, and tried to close the door. He put his hand out, pushed the door back open, and started raising his voice. I walked up behind her and said, if you don't leave, I'm calling your mom. His mom, not mine. It was a threat, and it worked. He muttered something under his breath, shoved the door, then left. He slammed his car door so hard, I swear the whole block heard it. After that, his call shifted from let's work this out to you're ruining the kids' lives. He tried to guilt trip me, saying I was making things harder than they needed to be, that I needed to think about the family and stop being vindictive. I sent him copies of the photos from his secret phone. Want to see what ruining the family looks like? I asked. He didn't reply. I forwarded the ones of him and Alana with our kids, just to twist the knife. Petty? Yeah, absolutely. But I didn't care. He called my mom. She didn't answer. He called my dad, who was mostly just confused, and said, I'm not getting in the middle. I told my parents what happened. Mom said, whatever you need, we'll help. Dad said, just don't make it ugly for the kids. Too late, I told him. Then his parents got involved. His mom called me, all innocent, asking if we could sit down and talk this through. I said, did you know about Alana? She said, that's not the point. You shouldn't take the kids away. I said, they're not your bargaining chips. She hung up. His dad texted me, said he was disappointed in how I was handling things. The next morning, I called the school. I didn't make a spectacle. I just asked if they had a policy about who could pick up the kids. The secretary said, only people on the list. I asked, can you make sure Hunter can't pick them up without me? She asked if everything was okay. Just a family thing, nothing dramatic, I said. She told me, we'll update the file. Then I asked if there was an Alana working there. She said, no one by that name. I hung up, my stomach dropping. So who was she really? Just some random woman he met somewhere? Not even a legitimate teacher's aide. I texted my mom friend, asked if she knew anything. Never heard of her, she replied, but promised to ask around at pickup. Nothing. The days started to blur. Hunter kept texting. Sometimes he was all caps. Sometimes he was weirdly calm. Sometimes he sent voice notes that were just heavy breathing. I ignored him. I heard from a mutual friend, Martin, who mostly just reposts memes, that Hunter had been telling people I'd lost it, that I was unstable. I told Martin the truth. He said, damn, wasn't expecting that, but didn't want to take sides. Typical. Amber's house was chaos. The kids were confused, kept asking when we were going home. I tried to keep things normal. Pancakes, walks to the park. I let them watch extra TV. At one point, my daughter said, "Did Daddy do something bad?" I said, "Grown-up problems. Not your fault." She shrugged and said, "Can we have waffles tomorrow?" "Sure, why not?" I replied. Then, out of nowhere, Hunter's sister Kate texted me. A long message about how I was tearing the family apart. How Hunter wasn't happy for a long time, and I never saw it. She said, "You always made him feel small. You never let him be himself." I almost laughed. I replied, "You don't know jack about our marriage." She sent a thumbs down. I blocked her. I told Amber, and she just said, "Screw them all." Later that night, Hunter showed up again. This time he was yelling from the driveway, saying he wasn't leaving until I talked to him. Amber called my dad. "Can you come get him?" she asked. My dad, who lives 5 minutes away, drove over. He walked up and said, "Go home, Hunter. You're not getting anywhere like this." Hunter tried to push past him. My dad put his hand on his chest and said, "Not tonight." Hunter shoved his hand away. My dad didn't even flinch. I watched from the window. I was angry, but I was also kind of proud of my dad. I called the bank to make sure everything was set up. No weird withdrawals. It was all fine. I moved some money to cover the kids' stuff. I texted Hunter, "If you need money for the kids, let me know." He replied, "I'm not a deadbeat." I said, "Prove it." No answer. The weirdest part was how normal some things were. I was still getting school emails, still had to remember snack day, still had to buy groceries and track down lost socks. But everything felt off like I was walking through mud. Amber tried to distract me with dumb memes. She made me do a face mask with her, even though I looked like a serial killer in mine. We laughed for a minute, then my phone buzzed. It was Hunter again. I muted him. About a week in, I got an email from the school. The principal wanted to touch base about the kids. I went in, sat in her office. She asked if everything was okay at home. "We're separating," I said. "There's been some tension, but the kids are safe." She said, "Your daughter mentioned Miss Alana again, and we're a little concerned." I repeated, "As far as I know, there's no Miss Alana here." The principal confirmed, "No one by that name has ever worked here." I asked if anyone had tried to pick up the kids who wasn't on the list. "Not yet," she said. I left feeling more creeped out than before. That night, Hunter showed up at the house again. This time, he didn't even knock. He just stood outside, calling my name. "I just want to talk." I opened the window and said, "Go home, or I'll call your mom." He cursed, slapped the window frame, and stormed off. I slammed the window shut. Over the next few days, his parents kept calling, alternating between guilt trips and, "Let's be reasonable." I sent them the photos from Hunter's secret phone. "You want to know what's happening?" I texted, "Here's your golden boy." His mom called, crying, "I can't believe he'd do this." I said, "Believe it." I started thinking about Alana. Who was she? I looked her up on Facebook. Nothing obvious. I checked Instagram. Same. I even searched my kids' photos in case she'd tagged them somewhere, but nothing came up. I felt like I was chasing a ghost. I texted Hunter, "Who is she, really?" He said, "Drop it." I said, "Not happening." I was tired of waiting for him to make the next move. I texted him, "You want to see the kids?" Set something up through my mom. He said, "You're making this impossible." I said, "You did that." He sent me a photo of the kids from 2 months ago, said, "Remember when we were happy?" I replied, "You threw it away." I heard from Martin again, the meme guy. He said, "Hunter's been telling people I'm unstable, that I took the kids and the money." I said, "Ask him for screenshots." Martin just sent me a meme of a dumpster fire. I laughed for the first time in days. So that's where I was. At Amber's. Kids asleep. Amber watching some dating show. I was typing this out. I felt like I was in limbo, but also like I was finally getting somewhere. Hunter was unraveling. His family was turning on him, and I was not backing down. I knew I wasn't perfect. I knew I was tired, maybe checked out, but I was not cruel. He treated me like a background character in his own drama, because he wanted to feel young again or whatever. He thought I'd cave, that if he just yelled loud enough or showed up enough times, I'd give in. But I'm not that girl. Not anymore. I was done being the one who kept the peace. I wanted him to know he lost, and it was all his own fault. So, if you thought my last update was peak chaos, buckle up, because apparently my life decided to become a combo of the worst reality show and the most awkward group chat ever. I was still at Amber's. The kids were still asking when we were going home, and I was still running on caffeine and pure rage fumes. This week, though, it got way messy, eh? I'm honestly starting to think Hunter's lost all sense of self-preservation. Maybe he thinks if he just keeps pushing, I'll fold. But nah, I'm not built like that anymore. If anything, every time he tried something, I got more stubborn. So, here's the latest. First weird thing, my phone battery started draining stupid fast. I thought it was just because my kid kept sneaking it to play games, but then I realized my calls log was full of missed calls from random numbers super late at night, too. I'd block one. Another would pop up, not even leaving voicemails, just hanging up. Honestly, I was a little creeped out, not scared, just annoyed. I told Amber. She was like, maybe it's Hunter getting friends to call you. I said, if it is, they're all cowards because no one says a word. Then on Tuesday, I was at the grocery store with my son and saw Hunter's car in the lot. I almost skipped the produce aisle just to avoid a scene, but he never came inside. I texted him, real short, do not follow me. He didn't reply. Later that night, Amber said he'd messaged her, too, asking when I'd be reasonable. So, the next day, I was trying to be normal. Dropped the kids off, came back to Amber's, made coffee, scrolled social media. I saw a friend request from someone named Alana. Profile picture was a close-up, purple hair, same eyes as in those playground photos. Bio was just a string of emojis. Nothing useful, no mutual friends. I let it sit. 2 hours later, she sent a DM, hey, can we talk? I swear I didn't know everything. I just stared at the screen. What did she even want from me? I didn't reply. She sent another, not trying to fight. Just want to explain my side. I showed Amber. She said block her, but I didn't. Not yet. I replied, what do you want to say? She wrote back a wall of text. Basically, she said she met Hunter at the gym, of course. Didn't know he was married at first. He told her we were separated, but living together for the kids, and that I was cold to him for years. She said she only found out about me and the kids after she met them. But he said I knew all about her and was fine, just needed time. She claimed she didn't mean to get in the middle, but by then she caught feelings. I was reading this, and my hand was shaking. Not with sadness, but with pure, legitimate rage. I wrote back, you knew he had kids. You made them hot chocolate and let them think you were just a teacher's helper. That's not innocent. She replied, I'm sorry. I believed him. I thought you didn't care. He said you hated him. I just blocked her after that. I didn't need any more of her girl-to-girl energy. I screenshotted the messages, sent them to Hunter with the caption, your mess, not mine. So, I figured maybe that was it. Maybe Alana would back off. But the next morning, I got a text from Hunter's mom. It was a group text, me, her, his dad, and Hunter's sister, Kate. She said, can we please have a family meeting? This is getting out of control. The kids are suffering. Kate chimed in immediately. Joanna, you're being vindictive. He's not a bad dad. Let's work this out. I almost laughed. I replied, send me one reason why I should ever trust him again. Silence. I went about my day. I had laundry in the dryer. My son was begging for pancakes. Amber was at work. She actually left me a note on the fridge. Don't burn the house down, Joe. I was so tired of all of it. I opened the fridge, saw nothing but oat milk and leftovers, and just stood there thinking, is this my life now? I heard my phone buzz. It was Hunter calling. I declined. He called again. I finally answered, snapping, what do you want? He said, let's talk in person, just us. Not happening, I said. You owe me that, he insisted. I owe you nothing. I shot back. He hung up. That afternoon, I was picking up the kids from school. I saw Hunter's car parked a block away. He was just sitting there, windows down, staring at his phone. I ignored him, buckled the kids in, and drove off. Later, I got a text. Can I see the kids tomorrow? I replied, set it up through my mom. He said, why do you keep punishing me? I didn't answer. The next day, I was at the house for the first time in weeks to grab some stuff. Kids' clothes, my shoes, random things we'd forgotten. I texted Hunter first, asked him not to be there. But the second I walked in, I heard the back door. He was there, just standing in the kitchen, arms crossed. I told you not to be here, I said. It's my house too, he retorted. Not today, I said. He tried to block the hallway. I pushed past him. He grabbed my arm. I slapped his hand away. Stop making this harder, he said. Move, I told him. I got to the car, hands shaking, kids already strapped in. They never went inside. Thank God. I drove off, called Amber, and said, never letting him near me alone again. She said, wanting to come next time? Yes, please, I replied. Later that night, I got another DM. This time it was from Alana again, a new account. It just said, he's lying to both of us. I'm out. I didn't reply. So, Friday, I was at the playground, letting the kids burn off energy. Kate, his sister, showed up with her own kid. She walked over like nothing was weird. I braced myself. Can we talk? She asked. About what? I said, you're making this harder than it has to be. Hunter's a mess. You're ruining his life. He did that himself. I shot back. She said, he's your kid's father. You need to be fair. I said, he can see them when he stops acting like a psycho. She rolled her eyes. You're always so dramatic. I said, and you're always so desperate to fix other people's lives. She snapped, at least I don't run from problems. I laughed. You run from reality. She glared, grabbed her kid's hand, and stormed off. Then the real kicker. Hunter showed up at my work. I'm not even kidding. I was in the parking lot, earbuds in, waiting for Amber to pick me up. I saw him get out of his car. He walked straight up. We need to talk, he said. I pulled out an earbud. Not here. He said, you can't keep dodging me. Watch me, I said. He tried to stand in front of me, blocking my way. I walked around him. He grabbed my arm. I shoved him hard enough that he stumbled. Never touch me again, I said, my voice low and dangerous. You're making a scene, he accused. You're the one in the parking lot. I retorted. Amber pulled up, saw what was happening, got out, and said, get in the car. I hopped in. Hunter tried to stop us. Amber slammed her door and peeled out. My hand was shaking, but I just laughed. Half out of relief, half out of pure disbelief at how absolutely wild my life had become. After that, I got a call from the school. The principal said there was an incident at dismissal. Apparently, Hunter tried to pick up the kids without being on the list. Staff wouldn't let him. He argued, made a scene, finally left. They told me they were updating the file. Only I, Amber, or my mom could pick the kids up now. I apologized for the drama. They said, we see this stuff more than you think. Not comforting, but at least they were on it. That night, my mom called. Hunter's parents had been calling her nonstop. She said, they're threatening to go to court for grandparent rights. I said, let them try. She said, they're just scared. I replied, they should have been scared before. She said, we'll back you up. And I swear the universe just wanted to throw more at me, because as soon as I hung up, I got a group text from Kate, Hunter's mom, and Hunter. Kate said, you're destroying this family. Hunter's mom said, I can't believe you're doing this to your kids. Hunter said, I hope you're happy. I sent screenshots of his text to Alana. This is your boy, I wrote. Asked him if he's happy. I left the group. I blocked them all. I texted Amber, I'm done with all of them. She replied, good. Finally, I started paperwork for a legal separation. It's not fast, but I wasn't playing anymore. I told Hunter, I'm filing. You'll get served soon. He said, you're impossible. So are you, I replied. He called me names. I hung up. So yeah, I knew this was a mess. I knew my kids would have questions. I knew people would talk. I knew his family was going to get meaner before they got tired. But I wasn't budging. I wasn't letting him rewrite the story just because he was embarrassed he got caught. He could whine to his sister. He could DM Alana. He could stalk my social all he wanted. I wasn't scared anymore. One last bit, because this is getting long. My daughter asked me, why is Daddy so mad? I said, he made choices that hurt people, and now he's upset about the consequences. She said, so we're not going home? I said, not yet. She just said, okay, can I have pancakes tomorrow? I said, always. Sometimes it really is that simple. So, I guess this is the finale. I'm still low-key in disbelief this all happened to me, like I'm some side character in a bad Netflix original. But whatever. Here we are. I should have known the energy was going to get weird when I woke up and my phone showed 17 missed calls. Not just Hunter, but his mom, Kate, random numbers, even a text from Martin, the meme guy, saying, "Yo, Hunter's losing it." I just stared at the phone for a second, thinking, is he going to show up at Amber's again? I told Amber, please watch the door. She just rolled her eyes and said, if he tries it, I'm going full Home Alone on him. Things have been awkwardly quiet for about 3 days, which in my world meant something big was coming. I'd already started the divorce paperwork. It was slow, expensive, and annoying, but absolutely necessary. My mom and dad had been helping with the kids, running them to school, making sure I actually ate. I finally got the all clear from my lawyer to go back to the house and get the rest of her stuff. So I figured might as well just rip the Band-Aid off. I texted Hunter the night before, told him, don't be there tomorrow. I'm just grabbing our things. He didn't answer. Fine, whatever. I rolled up to the house with Amber, my dad, and the kids. I let the kids take their tablets in the car because I didn't want them seeing whatever mess was waiting. We walked in, and it was dead quiet weirdly. The kitchen looked like no one had used it in weeks, which tracks because Hunter always expected me to do the groceries. There was a pile of unopened mail, random garbage, a single mug in the sink with what looked like old instant ramen floating around. I just shook my head. Amber helped me pack up the kids' clothes, some toys, my shoes, the dumb little stuff that somehow matters most when you're leaving for real. My dad kept making trips to the car. Didn't say much, just got it done. Then I found the envelope on the dining table. Just my name, nothing else. I opened it, and it was divorce papers signed by Hunter. I didn't expect it to hit me, so final. I mean, I was already doing my own paperwork, but seeing his signature was like, oh wow. He actually gave up playing the victim for 5 seconds. There was a sticky note on top. You ruined everything. Hope you're happy. I almost laughed. I put it back in the envelope and stuck it in my bag. As we were leaving, I heard a car door slam. Hunter's car, of course. He stormed up the driveway, yelling, "You can't just take everything." Amber stepped in front of me. "Not today," she said. He glared, tried to shoulder past her, but my dad stood next to her. Hunter yelled, "This is my house." I said, "Not for long." He was shaking, yelling, "You're doing this to spite me. You did this to yourself." I shot back. He tried to grab my arm, but I slapped his hand away hard. "You're insane," he screamed. "You're pathetic." I replied, my voice stone cold. Amber told him, "Back off." He yelled, "You made me do this." I said, "You made your own choices." And we drove off. I moved into my parents' spare room that night, just for a bit. It's cramped, the bathroom door sticks, and the Wi-Fi is trash, but the kids are fine. And for the first time in weeks, I actually slept. Mom made pancakes in the morning. My son asked if we could go home yet. I said, "We are home for now." He shrugged, went back to his tablet. Then the real fun started. Hunter started calling, not just once or twice, but like all day. When I didn't pick up, he switched to texting. First it was all, "Can we talk?" Then it was, "You can't keep the kids from me." Then straight up guilt trips. "You're breaking up the family. You're making the worst mistake. You're going to regret this." I blocked him. He used another number. I blocked that too. He started texting not just me, but my dad, my mom, even Amber. All the same stuff. "You're all against me. You'll regret this. You're poisoning my kids against me." His mom started in again, texting me saying, "You need to talk to Hunter. He's not eating. He's not sleeping. He's saying he can't go on like this." I told her if he wants to see the kids, do it by the book. No more ambushes. She said I was being cruel. I said, "Ask your son why we're here." The next weekend, Hunter showed up at my parents' house. He just stood on the porch, texting me, "I can see you in there. Let me in. I just want to see the kids." My dad opened the door. "Not today, Hunter," he said. Hunter pushed past him, walked into the living room, and started yelling, "You're all against me. How can you do this?" I stood up and told him, "You can leave, or I'll call someone to escort you out." He said, "I'm not leaving. This is my family." I said, "You gave that up the second you brought another woman into their lives." He tried to slam his hand on the table. My mom just stood there, arms crossed, and said, "Don't break my table." Hunter looked at her, then at me, then back at my dad. My dad said, "Don't make me say it again." Hunter stormed out. That night was rough. My daughter asked if Daddy was mad. I said, "He's upset, but it's not your fault." She asked if we'd ever go home. I said, "This is home for a while." She said, "Okay." The days after, Hunter went quiet. Too quiet, honestly. Then the paperwork started rolling in for real. Court dates, custody stuff, all the legal things you never want to read. I kept everything above board. Never talked bad about him in front of the kids. Just told them we were figuring things out. Amber said I should be proud of myself. But honestly, I was just tired. My mom kept cooking. My dad kept fixing things around the house. Then another twist. I got a letter from Hunter's lawyer basically saying he wants joint custody, wants the house, wants the car. I laughed. I texted him, "You want to play games? Fine, let's play." I sent him screenshots of the messages with Alana. I said, "Good luck explaining this." He replied, "You're heartless." I replied, "You're reckless." The hearing was a nightmare. Not exciting, just long and awkward. His lawyer tried to paint me as unstable for taking the kids out of the house without telling him, completely ignoring the whole affair part. My lawyer asked about the second phone, the messages, the way Hunter tried to pick up the kids from school without permission. Hunter looked pissed the whole time, like he couldn't believe he wasn't getting his way. Kate, his sister, was there just glaring at me. His mom wouldn't meet my eyes. My parents sat behind me, stone-faced. Now it's been 2 weeks since all that. Hunter's living in some apartment near downtown. I heard from Martin, meme guy, that Hunter's been couch surfing before that, complaining to anyone who listened that I took everything and turned everyone against him. No one's really buying it anymore. Even Kate's gone quiet. Alana's name hasn't come up once from his family. I'm not even curious at this point. The money situation sucks, but I'm figuring it out. I left him enough for bills, took my share. Nothing sneaky. My parents help with groceries. Amber fills in the gaps. I'm still at their place, but looking for a new apartment. The kids are okay. Honestly, better than I expected. My daughter drew a picture of our family. Just me, her brother, and grandma and grandpa. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I know people want a neat ending, but life isn't like that. I'm not healed. I'm not stronger for it or any of that Pinterest crap. I'm just done. I did what I had to. I fought back. I refuse to be the doormat. If that makes me the villain in his story, I'm good with that. I'd rather be hated than walked over again, ever. I don't know what happens next. I'm just glad it won't be with him. I'm glad my kids won't grow up thinking this is normal. I'm not sorry. And if Hunter reads this, because I know he still stalks my socials, just know, not this time. You lost. Thanks for listening, for real. I needed this more than I realized. If you've ever been through something like this, or had an ex try to pull the wildest stunt, what did you do? Tell me in the comments below. I really want to know how you kept your sanity. We'll talk soon.